Guys, when we were talking QB Carousel a couple of weeks ago, we kind of skipped over a name there, and it's time to spend a little bit of time talking about one Mr. Dak Prescott entering the QB Carousel. He is right now an unrestricted free agent. So, guys, what do we think? Is he going to retire, rehire, or new hire?
I don't think there's a chance that Dallas lets Dak Prescott walk out of their facility. I don't know that they're going to come to an agreeable term. I don't see a long-term deal getting sorted out here. So I'll say he's a rehire, but I think he gets franchise tagged. But the longer that we go in this process, and the Cowboys, we haven't really heard much about the Cowboys and Dak and how, those conversations are going. It leads me to think that Dak might be on the market, and he might float out there and see what his going rate is.
I guess I'm going to take the contrarian position. That is, I think the fact that the Cowboys aren't talking about it means that they're actually talking to him. The fact that, Stephen Jones, who's essentially taking over for Jerry more and more each year, they've made it quite clear they want Dak to be their guy. I believe Pro Football Focus has him ranked as the number one potential free agent in the NFL this year. But there's no way. They don't have anybody else to replace Dak Prescott. Jameis Winston isn't going to do that. Phillip Rivers isn't going to do that. You're not going to get that from Marcus Mariota or Andy Dalton or Drew Brees. Not that I think he's coming back, or Tom Brady. Like some of these guys in this carousel, I don't think for their youth and their talent level, you're not going to get it. It's just a matter of how much above $30 million a year are the Cowboys willing to pay Dak? Because that's the baseline. Thank you, Kirk Cousins. So that's the baseline. So how much above and beyond are you going to go to that? Are you trying? Obviously, the Cowboys, I'm sure, trying to get him at 27, 28. I'm guessing the Dak camp wants closer to 33 to 35. So it's finding that middle ground there. The franchise tag seems to be the way that it's going to go. But I do see him being in Dallas long term. You'll see a record-breaking deal here soon enough. And mainly lack of options. There's only 32 of these jobs to go around, and of the 32 jobs, 15 are truly desirable number one quarterbacks, and another 10 are just serviceable, leaving, the other 7 as, ho-hum kind of journeyman, or we're going to feel our oats out and see what we got.
I will say, though, as the Cowboys have done this, there are a couple good quarterbacks in this draft that could tumble like a Dak Prescott did in the draft, that could move down into those later rounds, and the Cowboys could try to find something like they found with Dak, a fourth round guy or a third round guy that they could use and try to plug in and play. There's a quarterback that it didn't dawn on me until I was listening to some sports talk radio today. I think it was Colin Cowherd. But Jalen Hurts is like the comp to Dak Prescott. They're very similar in how they operate, how they can throw, how they can move around, how they lead. I think those are two guys that you could make that comp too. And I think, I don't know that Jalen Hurts sticks around till the third or fourth round, but he might, and that could be something that the Cowboys kind of lick their chops at and hope that they happen. Unfortunately, that draft happens, a month and a half after the league year starts, so you're not going to want to sit and wait and bank on that.
Right. Now, I seem to remember a guy on this show saying something similar to Jalen Hurts was the comp for Dak Prescott. Yeah, weird. Seemed to happen a while back, but no, absolutely. I think that Jalen Hurts is a guy that you can see pull some strings there, but on the flip side of that, I think every team in the league has looked at what Dallas has been able to do, what Seattle was able to do before that with Russell Wilson, and they are actively seeking those guys in that third, fourth round range, to the point where those are going to be fewer and far between. more so than these hits on these third, fourth round QBs. But I think Dak is going to be a rehire, and if nothing else, he may be a forced rehire, meaning that he'll be tagged there. I think that you'll see the Cowboys announce here right around the start of free agency that they've already reached a deal with Amari Cooper, leaving at least one franchise tag. And if the CBA is ratified before then, their only franchise tag to use on Dak. And I could very well see him being tagged and having to play under that tag this year. The question then becomes, will he play under the tag?
I think Dak would play under the tag.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I don't think that he has any disillusions of holding out and creating a media frenzy the way that the Cowboys can by him holding out. I don't think Dak should settle, right? These guys, their career lifespan is short-lived. And yes, we're talking about more money than, the average Joe can ever even imagine. But, if you knew that your shelf life was for only 10 years at your current career from this point, and maybe less, 8 to 10 years, wouldn't you be, in a free market society, wouldn't you be trying to demand every penny that you could, knowing that in 10 years, you're going to have to change careers again to something that you may not be as comfortable with. That being said, I do think the Dak camp will reach an agreement before free agency starts this season. And the reason behind that is the Cowboys, they do have some cap space, but they have holes on their team that they need to fill. And for every player that they sign, that piece of the pie is going to get a little bit smaller and a little bit tighter around Dak Prescott to try and fit in. They got Zeke done last year. There's the Amari Cooper deal that they're trying to talk about. They're being linked to a Chris Harris Jr. coming in as a cornerback there. So these guys, Chris Harris and Amari Cooper both are going to be commanding somewhere in that, $14 to $17 million range is what they're going to be asking for. So it's going to shrink that pie pretty quick. So I think Dak Prescott and his representatives understand that, and they need to be responsible in their negotiations so that way he stays at the front of the line and they're not left with, well, this is the best we got.
Absolutely.
If all else fails for Dak Prescott, he can do what the guy he replaced is doing now, make $17 million a year talking on TV. So.
Alrighty, guys, that'll do it for the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. If you haven't done so, be sure to click the like and subscribe button. For Kevin and Alex, I'm Derek.